Welcome. This is Vince Ritchie again, Vince Prep, admissions advisor, consultant, coach, helping you, the applicant, apply to MIT Sloan 2-year MBA program, entering in 2013 for the graduating class of 2015. I talked in the previous video about Essay 1. In this video, I'm going to talk about Essay 2. Here's the question. Please describe a time when you overcame a personal setback. This is a hard question for lots of my clients. They're getting confused by this phrase, personal setback, and I'm going to talk in this video. I don't think you need to worry about that at all. I'm going to explain what I think it means and why. First of all, a setback is something, basically a setback happens when you can't achieve an objective. Right? That's how I see a setback in this case, especially because this word personal setback, the difference between a personal setback and a professional setback, I guess, it doesn't mean that a personal setback has to take place outside of work. That's not what this means. What this means, though, is that a personal setback is an objective that you set for yourself. I decided to do something extra. For example, these videos. This is not my core job. My core job is helping my clients apply to schools, helping them with strategy, choosing the right stories, making sure their stories make sense and convey the right messages to admissions officers. Making a video to help people understand the questions behind the questions is not part of my core job. So if nobody watches this video, that would be a personal setback. If God forbid this year none of my clients can get into MIT Sloan 2-year MBA program, that would certainly be a professional setback. Either way, I'm not going to write about this for my MIT essay, but do you understand what I'm talking about? A personal setback can be work-related, but it's something that you chose to do, not something someone else chose for you or told you to do. The other thing about setbacks is that sometimes they can involve natural disasters or, huge unavoidable tragedies, like, for example, the 2011 earthquake that rocked where I am right now in Japan. That is okay as a story backdrop, as a context, as a general situation, but the 2011 earthquake and tsunami and nuclear meltdown, that wasn't a personal setback. If you reacted to it in a negative way, if you responded in a way that damaged you or brought harm to others around you, or if you did something after that earthquake that you experienced a setback, you got depressed or whatever, or you reacted in the wrong way that wasn't helpful, that could be a personal setback. Or if it caused friction in relationships that you had, or you anyway, if it caused trouble for you based on your response to it, that could be a personal setback as well. But the event itself, I think MIT is adding this word personal because they don't want someone to just simply say, last year I couldn't meet my sales quota, or the project that I launched didn't do as well as we thought, but I made some changes and this year it's a huge success. That's not personal if what you were doing was what you were supposed to do as a core part of your job. Again, to use myself as an example, helping my clients get admitted is my core job. Making videos is not. So nobody watches this video. I take that personally because it's something I chose to do, versus if nobody gets in, that's a problem for my business. Okay? All right, let's move forward here. I think the question behind the question here is, Rod Garcia wants to know if you can change yourself. Essay 1, he wanted to know, can you change other people? Here he wants to know, can you change yourself? Why does he want to know if you can change yourself? Well, if you can change yourself, if you're flexible, if you can overcome setbacks, you will make a good team member. Not every person who could write an excellent essay for question 1 should be at MIT. Rod wants to make sure that everybody he admits can write a good story for both answers, because Someone who doesn't experience setbacks doesn't realize that they happen, or doesn't overcome them, won't be good to work with, because they may just simply be overconfident or unwilling or unable to learn from life experiences that don't go as they planned. I think the key word here, in terms of the question, behind the question, the value is maturity, um, and flexibility as well, and also drive, not giving up on your goals, combination of things, innovation and creativity as well. There's a variety of values that are being shown down here. Hunger, motivation, the ability to set and achieve goals, innovation and creativity. The key word is overcame, right? So this is not going to just simply be, I experienced a setback, a personal setback, and it felt bad. Period, right? The point is that I overcame it. I changed somehow. There's two ways you can change your story here. I apologize, I couldn't get the bullets to look nice. I was fighting with my web page thingy earlier, and I just gave up. It looks bad, but it doesn't matter. The first type of story that you can tell is a simple story. I don't mean simple in a bad way. It's the rematch, right? So I had the same objective, but I changed my behavior. These are old movies, and I'm dating myself here, but I think they're still popular. Rocky, boxing movie, right? When Sylvester Stallone still made great movies. Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, I think these are great films. Rocky 1, he loses to Apollo Creed, the challenger. Rocky, the underdog, is beaten to a pulp and loses the match. In Rocky 2, it's the rematch, and he wins. He changes his behavior. He changes his training. I haven't watched these in a long time. It's a rematch. A personal example that you might write, although I don't know this is really necessarily a good story, but it would be, again, same thing in your personal life. I don't think many of you box. A marathon, right? I set a goal last year. I wanted to get in shape. I tried to run a marathon. I didn't finish, or I didn't make my time, or I threw up halfway through and passed out and had to be carried off by an ambulance, whatever. And then the second year, or this year, whatever, I trained differently. I started running with friends. I ran the marathon. Great. This is a simple kind of a story. It could be a nice example. I guess that shows the kind of skills Rod wants to see. I don't know. Personally, and this is completely personal. Running to me, well, first of all, I don't run unless someone is chasing me. I like to exercise. I like to do it in a group, or I like to do things that are more, I don't know what. I just have never enjoyed running. Part of it's the way my body is made, and part of it is I don't know what. I don't know. A solitary, climbing a mountain, climbing the side of a rock face alone could be a good story here. I tried once, I failed, I tried again. But I think, does it really show? Yes, it shows hunger, motivation, drive. Maybe it's fine. To me, I don't know. I think part of this story also should have something to do with interpersonal skills. Or, look, I'll say this. Either Essay 1 or Essay 2 needs to show that you have good interpersonal people, soft skills. One of these two essays needs to show that. Maybe not both of them, but if Essay 1 is all about, achieving a goal or convincing other people of an idea, and it has to do with convincing other people to collaborate with you, or changing the teamwork or the process or the communication in your organization, that'd be fine then in Essay 2 to write about, climbing up the side of a wall by yourself in the freezing, rain or whatever, or running the marathon, or any of these kinds of solitary me versus nature, or me versus myself, or pushing my limits kinds of stories. They could be fine. I don't know. Who's to say they're good or bad offhand? There are no patterns. I'm sure someone's going to get into MIT with a marathon story. Again, this might be just my personal thing. The second thing, my example though, would be a team story, would be a personal example, and this is probably my bias, because as I think about these questions, again, for myself, independent of my clients, for these videos, real quickly, I ran a nonprofit organization, It was in New Orleans. I'm not from New Orleans. Our staff was very diverse. That was the point of the program. They were all different ages. From, I think our youngest teachers were 14, 15, and then we had college students as well. Some were local from New Orleans. Some were not. Elite Ivy League college kids we'd hire for the summer, and then local high school kids who were in a lot of ways the better teachers than the overconfident Ivy Leaguers who thought they could teach and realized that, anyway, whatever. So there was conflict, there was misunderstanding, there was mistrust. The only thing we all had in common was we loved education. We wanted to help the students get into and graduate from competitive high school so they could be, in some cases or many cases, the first in their families to go to college. This was a fantastic program, a great idea. Operationally was challenging, communication was difficult. My first year as the director, I tried to bridge all these gaps myself, and I may have been the right guy. Hopefully I was the right guy to run the program, at least in the second year. But in the first year, I wasn't the right guy to merge and blend and get all these folks to communicate and trust each other, because I'm an outsider. So what I did the second year was we raised a budget. We hired the best conflict resolution trainers, diversity trainers. We had lots of excellent training, really, really powerful stuff. We showed the staff that we cared about it. We spent as much money as we needed to get the best people in there. And most importantly, we gave everyone a common set of tools that really, really worked. And in the second summer, the difference was, you could feel the difference. The mood, the atmosphere, it showed in every single way. It also showed quantifiably. The evaluations were stronger. More kids returned for the second summer. More staff returned for the second summer. More staff became professional teachers. More kids came back and taught in the program. The metrics were all there. We were able to raise more money. There was more goodwill in the community. And there was all kinds of qualifiable stuff as well. The final show, which is our big celebration, was just gorgeous. And the spirit was just so strong. Because I learned from I learned from my setback the first year. So that's my stupid example, or it's not stupid, but it's my personal example. Let me talk about another story pattern that might work. And this is not the rematch where, I got beaten up the first time. I learned how to trust other people. That's the other thing about my story that I would write if I was writing this for MIT, is that my real mistake the first time was that I didn't ask for help. I was arrogant or scared, or both, to ask others for help. I thought, I'm the director of this program. I was 25 years old. There's so many things I didn't know, and I should have just used my outsider status to just say, hey, look, I need help. I really need help. There's a lot of things I do know and I can do. And there's a lot of things I can't do, and I need to have the confidence to know that I'm the right person ultimately to do the job, and also the humility to ask for help when I need it. I think that's the core story that I would show in my example for essay 1. Or story pattern 1 for essay 2, sorry. Let me pause a second for some tea here. All right, the second type of story that you can tell to show a personal setback, again, how you overcame a personal setback, would be actually where you changed the objective. Again, quickly with my example, and this is really old, so I couldn't write it for MIT, but you actually changed, you clarified your motivation and set a different objective. So it wasn't the rematch trying to have a victory over the thing that defeated you last time. It's actually just change what you're trying to achieve. So my quick example is from my childhood. I was never good at sports. I did them. I signed up for them. I thought I should. I liked them socially. I liked social time, making friends and stuff. But I'm just not the most coordinated person in the world. But I kept at it, just perseverance, persistence. I never really got any better. Baseball, I'd go whole seasons on the bench. I'd bat last. I'd pray to get hit by the ball. And it was just pathetic. I stuck with it though, because whatever, I didn't want to quit or admit that I wasn't any good at this stuff. And then everything changed when I started playing music. A friend of mine joined a guitar class. I followed along. Then I found something. The more I practiced, the better I got. It actually worked. my body and my brain and everything. It's something I probably born to do. Um, Sports, I was trying to make friends, be popular, whatever. Music gave me all that and more. Great friends who I keep to this day. A great social activity, yada yada yada. So I basically changed my motive. My ultimate goal was still the same, to have a social activity in school. But I just decided, okay, well, sports isn't it. So for me, it's something else. I just simply modified my perspective a little bit, and I overcame the setback of years and years of terrible baseball. All right, a couple more points here, and I'm going to keep this one under 20 minutes. One way I help my clients is I help them pick the best story. They tell me all the options, and then I help them pick the ones that I think are going to work best. But it doesn't stop there, because once I see the example, usually the first draft is still not very good. One of the problems we all have as writers is we like to tell, we don't show with details. MIT definitely doesn't want you to talk about, they don't want you to psychoanalyze yourself. This experience shows my ability to modify my goals and change my behavior in order to... They will analyze you. Don't analyze yourself. So, especially for MIT essays, show me what happened. Don't tell me what it means in the future or because of this example, at MIT, I will, instead of any of that stuff, show us. MIT says, tell us with details about what you thought, felt, said, and did. The essays that I read, the initial drafts, way too much said and way too much did. Actually, not enough said. It's all did. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. It's just a bunch of actions. And again, I can guess if you failed if you couldn't finish the first marathon, I could guess how you finished the second one. There's not so many possibilities for how somebody, trains oneself to finish a marathon. Not that I've ever done it. But I can imagine, right? That's the point. They can imagine what steps you took. It's not about the action steps. It's about this and this. It's about how this connects to this and this. Thought is here. Felt is here. Said is here. Did is here. Show me especially this and this. Thought and felt. We won't know this if you don't tell this to us. This is what they want to know. How your thoughts and feelings connect to your words and your actions. Okay? That's what you should be talking about in these MIT essays.